What's up, and welcome back to another kind of funny breakdown to the Disney Plus MCU show, Secret Invasion. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and today I'm not joined by Eric Voss because Eric Voss of New Rockstars is headed down to Austin, Texas to go to RTX alongside our very own Joey Noel and Snowbike Mike. So if you are in the Austin area this weekend, go hang out, go see New Rockstars, go see Kinda Funny. It's going to be a great time. Celebrate Rooster Teeth and all of that stuff. But because of that, it left a perfectly sized void for my very good friend MT, also from New Rockstars, to join me today. MT, how are you doing?
Dude, I am so excited to be able to talk with you guys again. Like, Secret Invasion has been an incredible show to me. Like, this show is like got me gripped at the edge of my seat every episode, and like I was literally counting down the hours for Secret Invasion last night. And so like, I'm so excited to talk about it.
You're East Coast, right? So you stay up till 3 a.m. to watch this thing.
Yep. The wee hours of the morning. I talked with the raccoons. I gathered the raccoons and coyotes, and we all watched Secret Invasion. It's really great.
I appreciate that, man, because I love this stuff. I love staying up to watch things and be excited and all that. I feel like I've been kind of like, I don't want to say beat down. That's a little bit too much. But like, I feel like when Mandalorian season 1 came out, I was like, it's midnight, baby, let's go.
Right.
And WandaVision, Loki, I'm like, let's go. Now that we're like 10 Disney Plus shows in, I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm going to watch these things in the morning. And it's been a little bit better for my kind of mental health and everything there. But yeah, so Secret Invasion's been a morning show for me, but it's been a lot of fun, man. We're going to talk all about that. Again, this is our spoiler-filled breakdown of all this. So if you have not seen episode 3 of Secret Invasion, please do not watch this yet unless you just don't care and you just want to hear MT's beautiful voice. But of course, you can get the show each and every week on youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Screencast, and we will be right there for you. We're going to be covering Ahsoka in August when that comes out as well. Really excited about that, as well as a couple one-off movies that don't have proper in reviews. We'll be covering them on Screencast, so you're going to want to subscribe wherever best suits your needs. If you want to go above and beyond, though, you got to go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producers James Hastings, Casey Andrew, and Nathan Lamoth have done. Thank you all so very much. Because of your support, you get to watch shows ad-free. You don't need to hear the ads for Shady Rays I'm going to tell you about later. It's a great time for all involved, but enough about all of that. MT, let's get right into it. I haven't had you on the show yet, so I kind of want to get your overall thoughts on Secret Invasion thus far, and then specifically, what'd you think of episode 3?
I think that Secret Invasion is so good so far. Like, I think that they're throwing us a lot of like misdirection and curveballs that I'm like that are going to be really great to analyze after all the episodes are like out and after we watch season 1. Like, this show seems like one of those shows where you have to watch twice to really appreciate like what's going on, because some really shitty shit going on in the background. But yeah, no, I think that episode 3 was incredible episode, and like in very what's it called? It set it ended on a cliffhanger, and like a huge cliffhanger that very much sets up some really exciting things for Super Skrulls that I cannot wait to get into in the MCU. But yeah, it's gonna be great.
Dude, it really is. I mean, yeah, you talking about the cliffhangers, I think that's actually a great way to start the conversation here, because I'm right there with you, really enjoying the show. This might have been my least favorite of the episode so far, but I still really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to see where it's going. We're halfway through, right? 3 episodes left. Where's it building? I feel like they've kind of done a good job of not getting too ambitious with things, but having the scale still feel like, I mean, especially with this episode, there's some things going on that are like, yo, this is a very big deal. Like, if this sub and like the airstrike, and if this whole thing happens, like, that's going to have some real big ramifications for the world.
Yeah, it's World War III, bro.
100%. Like, we're right there. We're on the cusp of it. But I really appreciate when these shows take themselves a little more seriously, and like I loved Andor so much, and I feel like this show is flirting with that a little bit. It's not quite there, but I'm appreciating that every episode has that cliffhanger. It has that moment, episode 1, of like, Maria Hill is dead, and you're like, no, she's not. No way. And then it seemingly is, like with how episode 2 starts. Episode 2 ending, yo, Nick Fury, this is his wife, she's a Skrull. And then there's the question of like, but does he know? Does he know she's a Skrull or not? This episode immediately answers that question. I appreciate that type of like relationship with the cliffhanger, but then actually answering the question we're asking. So here we are, MT, the end of this episode. Amelia Clarke dead. Do you believe it?
I mean, I don't believe it at all. At all. Mostly because like promo material sort of, I don't know, sort of spoils that. But like, I think that there's a lot of shots of Amelia Clarke that we haven't seen yet.
Oh, is that the case? I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, there's from the trailers, like there's a lot of just like Amelia Clarke activities as Gaia that like we haven't seen yet. So like I believe that we're looking at an Extremis situation, and Gaia probably Extremis herself up, like she super scrolled herself up before she left. And so like that's like the cliffhanger reveal. It's like, oh, she's fine. Yeah. She's just got a bullet she's gonna pop out with Aldrich Killian technology.
Exactly. Everyone's favorite there. I will say I'll be a little let down if that's the case. I feel like just, oh, she's a Super Skrull is a very easy answer to give. And you're right. It is supported. It is set up. And I think that even seeing Gravik kind of use that ability after the show is so graphic at points.
Right. Like, I love it.
Dude, it'll just be the most chill kind of like, well, not chill, but like two people just having a conversation back and forth. Then all of a sudden, boom, just straight up knife through the hand and he pulls it out.
Some type of hand damage is going to happen.
A lot of hand damage in the show. But yeah, like seeing him kind of use that Extremis, it seems, ability was interesting and did definitely set up like, oh, she's probably doing it too. Like without knowing about her being another promo material, which like absolutely then shows she will be back somehow. I'm hoping that we get a situation knowing that her looking like Amelia Clarke is really just her basing her look off some other human. I hope that we get that other human. I hope that we see who Gaia's form is actually based off of, and I hope that it's somebody that could potentially be in the MCU for a while, because I like Amelia Clarke a lot, and having her here has been great, but I feel like so far her character has probably been my least favorite thing of the show. How do you feel about that?
I think that like Amelia Clarke's character, this is just my wild theory here, but like I feel like they're setting her up to be Abigail Brand, specifically because of the Extremis stuff that they sort of tease at the end of this episode, and with Gravik's stabby hand. Because that's Abigail Brand's power set right there.
For those that don't know who Abigail Brand is, MT, can you enlighten them?
Oh yeah, she's basically like a huge like higher up sword operative in the comics. She works on that base overseeing Earth, and she just basically guards Earth from above. And so I think that Gaia is going to eventually become assume the role of Abigail Brand by the end of this episode, and like join Fury in that space station that we see in the Marvels trailer, and like sort of just like be the new second hand that Talos was. I don't think Talos is gonna make it. That's just my wild theory.
Really? Tell me more about that. Like,
what's not looking good for that guy?
Yeah. What's the like? How do we get there? What do you think it's Gravik that takes him down?
I think that the show is very much setting up like this idea that Talos is a very merciful Skrull, and that he loves humanity a lot, and he loves not killing people more so than he used to, as like when he was a Skrull general way back in the day. Like that dude used to be a lot more ruthless, it seems, than he is now. And so I just feel like his mercy is going to get himself killed by the end of this episode, because he loves humanity. And I still feel like there's a huge role for Ben Mendelsohn as Talos after Secret Invasion, because like Skrulls were basically setting up Secret Invasion this entire time. Like ever since Spider-Man Far From Home, we were just like, yeah, Secret Invasion's coming. Where are the Skrulls? And so like after this narrative, I feel like Ben Mendelsohn's going to be like, all right, this was fun. Goodbye. But who knows? I don't know. That's just theory.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good theory, like specifically when you look at this show through the lens of it being the Nick Fury show. And I feel like the way that they've kind of like firmly established who Nick Fury is in modern MCU timeline, where this is not the same guy that assembled the Avengers back in the day. This is a guy that not only was blipped, came back and essentially ran away from everybody else and was like, I'm just going to space. And we're seeing the ramifications that had with all the people around him, including his wife. And having the show kind of like systematically take down anybody he thought he had, like he no longer has the Avengers. We have Rhodey kind of like straight up turning on him here. We have Maria Hill, his right-hand woman, dead. And now all he has is Talos. So if Talos is gone, then who does he have? Especially the other big reveal this episode, his wife, dude. His wife is totally on the bad guy's side. This ain't gonna be good for our boy Fury.
Oh man, like that's why he asked her at the beginning. It's like, yo, so like, did you change? Like, how have things progressed with you since I have been gone? Like, are you on the side of evil? And it would appear that she is trying to meet with Gravik, but I have a feeling that that gun is supposed to be for Gravik, because she probably wants to take him out. Because like probably because she loves Fury so much that like she doesn't want to lose him again. So she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna take care of this myself, and you know, kill Gravik.
So what's your read on that phone call at the end of the episode?
My read is that like she is 100% trying to set Gravik up to kill him. Like she originally called for Gravik and then she got Rhodey and she's like, you gotta deal with it and deal with me. And so like she was sort of like bummed out. I think because her expectations were to talk to Gravik. So like I just think that she really does love Fury, and like she's not actually Gravik's assistant. I think that she has a relationship with Gravik that we see established in episode 2 in the 90s, and like she knows Gravik from a young age. So like maybe she's trying to use that leverage to try to either convince him to stop or then shoot that dude. So
with that, I have 2 questions. Rhodey given the phone call. Is this confirmation, seemingly, that he is a Skrull? And if so, has he been a Skrull the whole time?
I honestly think that Rhodey has been a Skrull for a while. Like this is just my wild theory. He's probably been a Skrull since after Iron Man 3, which is kind of wild because they do mention that he did have this run-in with like a Skrull landing like around 15 years in the past, and like he mentions to Nick Fury that he had a run-in with the Skrulls. So I think maybe around that point, the Skrulls were like, hey, you're the best friend of the world's greatest weapons manufacturer, and also you're tight with the president. Why would we not take you? Like, we're gonna take that as a win because we can just get everything that we want, really.
So what's interesting there is talking to Voss last week, he presented the argument that it couldn't have been that long because we see Rhodey get injured the way that he did in Civil War. And when we see these Skrulls, when they get injured and like just how they get injured seems different, and them like reverting back, like they can always retcon whatever they want. It's the MCU and they can figure that out. But if it was back at Iron Man 3 or if it was after Civil War or either way, where's the real Rhodey then? Do you think that he's dead or do you think that he's being kept somewhere within that machine type thing?
I think that all Skrulls ultimately need to keep their host alive if they want to keep up the illusion of being that real person. And we sort of see this hinted at in like this last episode because they have all these people standing up and like have their minds connected to this machine to get those memories that they need to make the lies convincing. And so I also feel like this opens up a very interesting possibility for Maria Hill still being alive. That I would love to get into later, because I honestly feel like this whole thing is Talos' wife. I don't think Gravik is actually alive. I think Talos' wife is using her memories of Maria Hill to manipulate everyone.
I mean, that feels
kind of a wild theory.
I'm with you. I don't think it's that wild. Like I think that like there's enough evidence here, and the way that Talos' wife just straight up wasn't in this show and was talked about so much, I think is definitely like an interesting move that I don't think would be brought up the way that it is unless she's going to be a much more major player, unless they're really trying to go the tragic route with Talos every which way. But I do feel like having Talos and Nick Fury, this episode in particular, like we've seen it the last couple, but the relationship that they have, I think is so strong. And I love that like they can give each other shit, but I feel like this episode like there was like 3 or 4 different times they were in different locations talking to each other and really getting to the core of who each of them are. And it's a side of Fury that we've never seen, and definitely a side of Talos we've never seen, but kind of putting those things together of like, hey, I chose you. You know, like I choose you, Fury. Like all these scrolls, all this stuff's happening, and like something about you and humanity changed me. And I feel like it is such an important thing of like, yo, Fury's not alone. He has this guy. And like to see the way Talos is handling so many of the things being thrown at him, I just think, I mean, first off, Ben Mendelsohn's an incredible actor, and it's captivating to watch.
10 out of 10.
But just like I really appreciate their dynamic.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah. This episode was so good for that dynamic. That bar scene, well, not a bar scene, that diner scene.
Yeah.
Was just so. We've never seen Nick Fury just like have to be like, yeah, I need your help, please. Like, I'm begging you. And like, good for Talos for doing that, because honestly, like that conversation in the car of him being like, I've been cleaning up your own mess for 30 years. I was like, how dare you, Nicholas? Yeah. How dare you, Nicholas J? These guys have been working for you for 30 years and like just for free. And like, you promised them a new planet and you haven't delivered yet. So like, I get why, you know, people might be pissed.
Yeah.
So like, I like that Talos called him out. Like, that was a really good moment.
Yeah, and oh my God, the graphic scene of Talos being in that museum and talking to Graphic, and then all of the people turning into him. It was like that was scary, man. I know that was in the trailers as well, but like seeing how it was implemented here, I thought was really cool. And in the background in the museum, the exhibit was the Faces of Freedom exhibit. So like there was a bunch of like dioramas and like posters and like activations like saying the Faces of Freedom around all these people who all turned into the same face. And it was like, damn, man, like those are the little things that I feel like the show is kind of like really nailing. Whereas some of the things I feel like it's lacking in right now is kind of like the big reveals of stuff, and I feel like we might be building to that. But I was not expecting to get a reference to Dreykov from Black Widow.
Right.
And
I was like, what the hell is that about?
Yeah,
what?
so it's just kind of interesting to have like the New York 1998 and then get a little bit more of the 90s Nick Fury, but like later than Captain Marvel. And seeing like the early days of him and his wife and understanding like, oh, his wife's been in this and like she's on to like spy side of it as well.
Right. Yeah, like they've been just doing this whole thing for a while now. And like, yeah, like I'm wondering what exactly like the Dreykov thing has to do with the overall MCU and why they teased that little tease to begin with, because I'm just like, he's dead. Like that asshole was, thank God he's dead. He's a terrible human being. But like, what does that have to do with the Skrulls? Like, are they connected with the Red Room and like their program? Because like they're all sort of spies. So like, are we going to have a Red Room narrative attached to Secret Invasion?
I mean, the fact that they're tying them together at all, I mean, it does make sense just from the genre of Black Widow compared to Secret Invasion. Like that all makes sense, but it is an interesting call. I mean, them doing it in the 90s, I do think kind of sets it as like, yo, like, I mean, we saw flashbacks in Black Widow even of the 90s of like when Nat was like a little girl with her.
She was popping in the 90s, man.
Exactly.
Good time to be a 90s kid.
So maybe not for her. But yeah, so it's like, getting that kind of connections, especially with Secret Invasion being as global of a show as it is. I'm interested. I wonder if that was just like a blink and you miss it kind of reference, or if they're going to try to tie it in a more real way.
Yeah, that'd be super interesting. Like, especially like if potentially, and this would be super messed up, if Gaia and Gravik like were like part of the Red Room program at some point, because of like this connection, because like they were kids at that time, so like you would have a mindset of a kid, so like you would be a perfect kid spy to be in the Red Room.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Like some like real triple agent shit. Like you're a Skrull pretending to be a spy that would be absolutely wild. We're gonna take a real quick break to get a word from our sponsors, but when we get back, we're gonna keep talking about Secret Invasion Episode 3, Betrayed. Here you go. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair that we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break a pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Shady Rays Independence Day sale is live right now. You can go to shadyrays.com and get up to 50% off single pairs of sunglasses. You can try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Again, that's shadyrays.com. shadyrays.com. Back earlier than I expected, everybody. MT, you were teasing a little theory about Maria Hill. What is it here? Because, look, we got Maria Hill. They made it as clear as possible. She is dead. And, hey, anything can happen, especially when people can look like others and all this. You did bring up a good point about people not being able to do it unless there's a living body there. What's the theory?
My theory is that Talos' wife is behind all of these shenanigans, and that she used Maria Hill's memories of faking Nick Fury's death in Captain America 2 to fake Maria Hill, quote unquote, death in episode 1 of Secret Invasion. I have a feeling that Maria Hill was not in that episode whatsoever, and that Soren has been pretending to be Maria Hill to specifically make Nick Fury suffer a major loss, to make him suffer losing everything, losing the entire planet, because she's pissed that Nick Fury ghosted. And if you go back to that, specifically that bar conversation between Maria Hill and Nick Fury, and if you view that in the eyes of a very angry Soren who's been promised things ever since the days of Marvel. Marvel promised to help her out, left her stranded. Nick Fury promised to help her out, then ghosted. I feel like you can see the rage in that fake Maria Hill and just being yo, I hate this dude. He ghosted me. And so I'm going to make him suffer by using my memories of using tetrodotoxin B, which is the little injection that Bruce Banner made to slow his pulse down to make himself look dead. I think she used that on herself at pretending to be Maria Hill to make Fury believe that her last words were, "It was you, you killed me. I want you to suffer with that for the rest of your life because I hate you, and you let all these Skrulls die while you ghosted us." And so that was sort of the intent. And because we know that Skrulls hold positions of power in the MCU, it's leadership positions in different countries, that whole casket that we see in episode 2 could have just been a show. Part of that whole making Nick Fury miserable type of vibe, because Maria Hill's mom, who I think is also a Skrull, specifically makes a point to try to get Nick Fury to feel bad about losing her daughter. And so it feels especially with this last episode going into that memory machine and reminding people that the Skrulls use the memory machine to get very important memories. Maria Hill being very connected to the only person that knew Nick Fury was fake dead in Captain America 2 would allow Soren to replicate that for both her own death with Talos and a fake death with Nick Fury. So it seems like Soren is all over the show.
Oh yeah. I'm with you for so much of this, but where is the real Maria Hill then? Are they just keeping her body somewhere and just in one of those machines?
Right. So in the trailer, in one of the trailers, and I think both trailers, we get this huge room of multiple people on tables in this in the skull fracking machine, fracking pods. I think this huge room of all these people are all human beings being stored for the Skrulls to pick up and scan through their memories whenever they need to. So I think that Rhodey, Maria Hill are both in that room. Both of those characters are both being stored in that room while the Skrulls take over their personalities.
So
that's my wild theory.
Do you think that the show would have the balls, if it's even the right way to put this, to bring to have two deaths that aren't actually deaths in the form of Gaia and Maria Hill? Because that seems like a little bit of jumping the shark to me.
Yeah, it really does, but like because the Secret Invasion comic is so convoluted and like it has so many twists and turns like by nature, I feel like Marvel is like, all right, let's just make this a very twist and turny, misdirection-y type of show where like nothing is, you can't really take anything at face value. So like I'm sort of thinking of this as like from the perspective of someone that has watched all 6 episodes and like have seen all the twists and turns. So I'm just like trying to like expect those twists and turns beforehand. I don't know. But like there just seems to be a lot of like theming, especially in the intro, around Soren and like around her love of like plants in particular. Because like there's just one shot, one of my favorite shots from the very commercial intro shows a plant it goes from a plant into a scroll eyeball to an eyeball of a woman. And we know that Soren loved planting those scroll sky plants around the earth. So like that, like I feel like that is opening up a theme of integration because plants are like these scroll plants are integrating with the planet, much like Soren wanted to integrate with humanity. So like I feel like they're setting up this huge theme of Soren wanting to so badly integrate with humanity, with Earth rather, the planet, not humanity. She hates humanity. That she wants to annihilate all of humans who don't treat the planet with respect. Yeah. And like they're just killing the planet and they're killing each other. So she's like, let's get rid of the humans. They're like they're terrible. Like they're freaking pests. And we'll just take over this planet for ourselves. We're homeless. So yeah, that's what I think is happening. Sorry for the super long ramble.
No, dude, I love it. So then the next question I have here is they make reference that they're trying to target. Well, actually, let's start here. Nick Fury says, I have a line on a scroll that's high up in the American government. Is he talking about Rhodey?
I think that he probably has a feeling or an inkling that Rhodey is a Skrull because Rhodey did call him Nick during their meeting, and he says that nobody calls him Nick. He did, and so he's probably like, that. Yeah,
interesting.
So he's probably very suspicious of like, yeah, all right, so this guy just fired me and he called me Nick. That's probably a Skrull. So he's just playing it cool.
Yeah, wow, that's a really, really good point. Because yeah, like the way that they said it, I was like, who else could it be? Like we haven't seen him interact with too many other government figures in this show, at least. So, or I mean, if ever, really. I mean, I guess there's always like those holograms, right? Like in Avengers 1 and even in Winter Soldier, like there are people he's dealing with that like we don't necessarily know their names or anything. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Do you think that there's going to be anyone else that is like a big surprise in these next 3 episodes?
That's a Skrull?
Yeah.
This is another wild theory. Bear with me now. I'm like a wild theory, man. I honestly feel that there's a possibility that Nick Fury himself is a Skrull. That the real Nick Fury sent to deal with the Secret Invasion situation. And the reason I think this is because of the post-credit scene for Avengers Infinity War, where we see Nick Fury get snapped. Because he tells Maria Hill to call Control Code Red. In that scenario, who is Control? Like, Nick Fury is the man in charge. There's no more S.H.I.E.L.D. There's no person above Nick Fury. So he's the one calling the shots. So if that was supposed to be Nick Fury, then he would just be like, all right, I'm going to take charge here. But like, this to me feels like Talos and Soren he was telling Soren to call Nick Fury because some Avengers level shit was happening with an alien invasion, and then he went to go call Captain Marvel. And so because of this, I feel like Nick Fury has been gone since Captain America 2. I think that since the Winter Soldier, when he said goodbye to Steve Rogers and Sam, he was like, all right, I'm peacing out. S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone. I'm probably just going to help these Skrulls find a new planet because I'm no longer a director. I have a lot of more free time. I have made them a promise. So I'm peacing out. Talos, you take over. And so Avengers 2 on has been Talos. Until Tony Stark's funeral. That's when he came back. He's like, all right, I'm here. So sad. Tony Stark's dead. So sorry. Goodbye, Tony. And then left again. Which is why Talos brings it up in episode 2. It's like, yo, your boots barely hit the ground, and then you left because you came back for the funeral. So yeah, that's what I think is going on.
So help me with
this Nick
timeline.
Fury.
Help me with the timeline a little bit on this one. So Far From Home, that is Talos and Soren, right? As Nick Fury and Maria Hill throughout the whole movie.
Correct.
And like that's revealed at the end. So that not being Far From Home is post-blip, right? Like people are back. So
yeah,
there wasn't that long until wherever we are here. When did Soren die?
I think Soren died slightly before the events of Secret Invasion. I think that she got tired of Talos being weak and Talos not being like the strong leader that he used to be. And so she was like, you know what? I'm just going to fake my own death to make him suffer for being weak. But also, I want to join Gravik's side, and I don't want to hear it from both my daughter and my husband. So like, I'm peacing out. And like, my daughter will have to decide on her own whether she joins Gravik's cause or her father. And so, because like she wants to make it less of like a parental choice and like just take out the bias for Gaia to choose. So yeah, I think that Soren probably died like somewhat recently before the events of Secret Invasion, but Soren and Talos have been impersonating, at least Talos has been impersonating Nick Fury since Avengers 2 onward, mostly because of that sandwich thing. Like, because he cuts the sandwich diagonally in Avengers 2. Like, some people think that he cut it, like, the other way. I think that he cut it diagonally.
MC, I love you so much. I love that you're so into this shit. You hold on to the goddamn sandwich theory, but you're making it work. You're making it work with this.
I think that they would not have that line in Captain Marvel if that sandwich moment from Avengers 2 was not going to be significant. And so he says to Marvel that, like, I can't eat sandwiches that are cut diagonally. So that happens in Avengers 2. So to me, the ending of Captain America 2 was with Nick Fury goodbye, and that Talos took over from there because of that sandwich. But that's just
sandwich.
That damn sandwich.
So all right. So what are your kind of predictions then for the next 3 episodes? Like, do you think that we're kind of like about to get into like a war, or is it always going to almost get there and then not actually happen? Because I was on the edge of my seat when the music started hitting in this episode, and we're getting the like multiple planes of action of like them trying to get the code and like getting the just everything to stop and all that. It was pretty intense.
Right.
I thought they were going to go through with it. They didn't. Like, I thought that the things were actually going to blow up. I mean, a couple episodes ago, they did, right? The terrorist bombing happened. Do you think that they're going to continue to kind of like... Are you expecting twists and turns that get us somewhere that is like satisfying? Or do you foresee this being the same MCU thing of like, all right, cool, they're going to activate the Super Scroll things, and there's going to be some Super Scrolls, and there's going to be a mediocre fight scene, and that's the end?
No, I think that things are going to ramp up significantly because this is a Nick Fury story. Because you got to remember that Avengers 1 had one of the huge points of Avengers 1 was Phase 2 of Nick Fury's plan. If the Avengers Initiative failed, he had these bombs that were made from Tesseract from World War II that he was going to use to stop the Chitauri invasion. Those bombs are probably what Gravik wants from Nick Fury. He wants to manipulate that information out of Nick Fury and to get those bombs, but he also wants to manipulate Nick Fury to assemble the Avengers because he has this Super Scroll program going on, and like they're having trouble finding all these DNA samples from different parts of the world. So if you bring the Avengers down with their DNA, they can just take them and create them and make little Avengers themed scrolls to avenge the destruction of Skrullos. Because like they're all pissed at the Kree. They all want revenge on the Kree, and so like after they take over the planet, their new Skrullos will be their staging ground to continue that war, which is sort of teased at in episode 2 with that one Skrull who dissented, who was like, yo, you forgot how we got here in the first place. We're too willing to wage war, and it seems like you are too willing to wage war with the humans and with the Kree after you beat the humans. So yeah, I feel like they want the what's it called? Fake Rhodey was trying to get Nick Fury to assemble the Avengers so that they could take the Avengers DNA to make like little Hulk, Spider-Man, different themed Super Skrulls. Because why not? Like take your enemy's powers and use them against them to take over the world.
Totally. And it does seem like they're building to that, at least narratively. Like, I don't know if we're actually going to see, I don't expect to see many Avengers in the rest of the show, but they did reference it even in this episode when they were talking about the wars and like what a World War III would look like in a world with heroes. you know, and I'm saying like the heroes
Right.
are going to come, but there's going to be so much infighting that it's just not even going to matter. And I loved Talos kind of his take on it, which was just like, hey man, scrolls aren't all the same. Like you're a bad one, I'm a good one, and humanity will see that. That's like, it's hard to believe, but like to see that you believe that he believes it. And I think that every single piece of dialogue that he's had with Nick Fury over the last couple episodes all builds into that he believes in humanity and he believes in Nick Fury to be somebody that is looking to protect humanity. But there is that fear that we all understand of like, it's so easy to use this misinformation to incite violence and start riots and start a war. And where do the heroes fit into this, especially when there isn't Avengers at this current point in time?
Right. Yeah, no, I'm really curious to see how like the heroes fall into the rest of the narrative, and if we see any like surprise Avengers like pop up like by the end of like the series. That'd be super dope to see like some surprise cameos.
Yeah, because I mean, so
TV
far
shows.
we've got, you know, War Machine, which is awesome, and we got Everett Ross, not a hero, but like, you know, bigger talent.
What do you mean? He founded the Avengers. You're speaking slander.
But then you keep going through, and it's like I expect that we're going to see Val still. Do you think we will?
Oh yeah, like I feel like Secret Invasion is meant to set up Captain America 4 in a huge way, because like this is a narrative sort of like reflecting like the refugee narratives that we see in real life. So like this xenophobia is going to form hardcore around MCU Earth, and this is when President Ross, Mr. Hater Master General, who hates everyone that is like remotely a threat, he's like, I'm president now in Captain America 4, and everyone that isn't human, regular human, is bad. So we're going to start hunting Skrulls, we're going to start hunting superhumans, we're just going to start hunting everybody.
So actually,
like,
I was talking about Everett Ross.
Oh, my bad. I keep mixing the Rosses.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you bringing up Thunderbolt Ross, I think, and this is just like, I'm not going to be mad at the show if it doesn't happen. I think we get Harrison Ford in Secret Invasion.
Oh my God, that would be incredible. I honestly feel like that is very, very likely, considering that there is this huge presidential thing that's supposed to happen in the show with the motorcade. Yeah. So like, yeah, I would love to see Harrison Ford grumpily come on set and be like, all right, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. This is a Marvel thing.
I'm Thunderbolt Ross now. Deal with it.
They told me to say these lines. But yeah, I would love to see Harrison Ford. That'd be amazing.
Because like he's not currently president. Do we know who the president is right now?
It's President Ritzman. He was in episode 2 with Brody when Brody snitches on Fury.
So we see him die, right, in the show? Like, I imagine that this is going to be the show that creates the opening for Thunderbolt Ross to become president, right?
Correct. Yeah, like there's going to be a huge event that Gravik probably orchestrates to trigger World War III that ends in the death of the president. And that's not going to be good for world stabilization. So yeah, it's going to be, I think that's going to be like the big, like probably episode 4 moment that's just like, oh shit.
You think that's next episode?
Oh yeah, I feel like it has to happen very, very soon. Because like these Skrulls are like making these terrorist attacks left and right, trying to escalate World War III as soon as possible. And because I feel like they really just want to escalate, they really want to get their home in their own skin immediately, like super, super fast. Yeah. And so like World War III is not very hard to trigger. I mean,
they're on the way to it already, right? Like, yeah, it's like they definitely like put it all in motion. So yeah, man.
Right.
What? MT?
But like, I also have like, sorry,
what's your final thing? Go for it.
I have a weird feeling that Soren probably wants to trigger World War III to activate all of these plants that she hid around the Earth, because like that Santo Monica plant exactly looks a lot like Ego. That's literally just about what I was about to say. It looks a lot like Ego's plant. So like we know that like those plants with the right amount of like energy source can sort of balloon into like a terraforming type of situation. So I feel like the nuclear radiation from World War III could trigger all these plants to sort of terraform in a very similar way to create a new Skrullos that is specifically tailored for the Skrulls to like enjoy their favorite foods, like Beto was in the car, all around the whole planet. Because like Earth food isn't Skrull food at the end of the day. So that's my wild theory for why they want to trigger World War III. It's for that radiation to, because we sort of see it in the intro, a weird gas sort of like going over the White House. It's just like, I feel like that's sort of what they're going for. Anyway, that's just me.
Dude, I love you so much, man. Love talking to you about all things Marvel and just everything in general. Where can people find you?
Yo, you guys, please subscribe to New Rockstars. That's where I'm at the most, just making weird videos, but also at Mastertainment on Twitter is where I'm at making all of my weird theories. I tweet a lot about Marvel, so if you guys like to see weird theories there, especially the Marvel trigger theory, it's all there.
It's good stuff, everybody. Definitely go follow him. Go check out New Rockstars, all that stuff. And stay tuned here to KindaFunny. We are planning to do this each and every week. I don't know who exactly is joining me next week, but it's going to be a good time, and you're going to want to come back to find out. But until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.
Peace out. Ooh, the gas.
There it
Breathe
is.
it in.